I haven't been pretty active on the channel for a while, but hi, welcome back to the live stream. Today, I don't know what live stream number this is. In fact, I don't think we even have a number. But well, not for these live streams anymore. But hello, welcome back to another live stream. I'm very glad you guys are here. Today is the day in which AP classes are done. They've actually been done for a while. In my APs, the AP classes finished, or AP tests, I should say, finished last week. Um, so I was very happy. Well, I was very happy that it was all over. But I'm very glad to be back. Sorry, some things are dropping on my desk right now. I have a desk right here that I'm placing this on. This is the first time, by the way, that I'm recording a live stream on my phone. So that's different. But yeah, this is definitely new. There's some stuff here actually. Light. I can put lighting on or off. I could do a green screen. Whoa, that is very different. Interesting. I think I'm gonna turn it off. Well, okay, I did something different. Okay, let me turn off this green screen. This is a little annoying. Turn it off. Okay. Hello, welcome back to the live stream. I feel like I've said that like 5 times already. Anyway, so yeah, AP classes are finished. I'm very glad for that. My classes are still there, but it is finally the stress is over. Really. The only stress I still have is trying to keep my grades good on those classes still because I still am learning some stuff. Like for example, for chemistry, we're learning organic chem now, which is a lot of memorization. So I'm not so happy about that. But I mean, what else are we going to be doing for the month left, really? I don't think that, playing games is the most efficient thing to do. So I do agree with my teacher that, we should have a unit. I just wish it wasn't a unit that was so focused on memorization because I'm very bad at memorization, really. I'm not very good. The only time when I'm good at that is Spanish. So far, memorization has not been a strong suit on my part, but we adapt, should be fine. The good thing about what that means is that I will be more open to making videos within these next couple of weeks. I will say, over the summer, I'm still going to be busy, but not that busy. I'm just going to be busy as in, like, I'd say less busy than right now. I mean, but I have things I'm still studying for. I have stuff that I need to do, work. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on, but time is of the essence. So I'm gonna use it well. I'm making videos. Um, so yeah, That's gonna be my main focus on over the summer for the channel is trying to make some videos. I'm gonna be doing some live streams. Hopefully, we'll get back to doing live streams weekly. That will be a time for that. I think next school year will actually be kind of less intimidating in some ways because I feel like it's gonna be less like demanding. I'll be taking more APs, one more AP actually, but it's gonna be like, hello everybody, but it's gonna be less demanding because those classes that I am taking APs of, I think are gonna be easier. I really don't think a lot of APs can beat AP Chem. I think AP Physics can, but I don't think that like AP, even AP Bio can do that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory on that part. If you guys have ever taken AP Chem, you guys know it's difficult. Sorry, my dog is knocking on the door. Can't let him in right now, but yeah. Hello. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, hello. Sorry, I don't have my chat on right now, so I can't really see much of what's going on or anything. But I just wanted this moment to really talk to you guys because this is going to be really important that I'm able to finally have a chat because I've not had a chat in so long. You know what? I'm going to open my door right now. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. My dog will not stop with this nonsense. Get in, please. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, I don't know why this door opens every time I open that door. I know it's science, that's something to do with the pressure being released on that part. Anyway, though, hello, welcome back. So, yes. One thing I want to say, guys, about what's been happening on this channel recently is obviously, excuse me. I mean, yeah, views have been going down, but I'm still like interested in making videos. So I still have a lot of videos I need to post actually from a couple of months ago, even from 2025, which is you're gonna see the hair difference. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of videos. Then I have a Minecraft series that I'm trying to do, which is actually pretty fun. I think I might actually post that because it's actually like a good idea. I think that I could definitely bring that out for the channel for a while. I don't know if I'm gonna like. I don't think I'm gonna purely focus my channel on Minecraft. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna purely focus my channel on any game really, but I think most of my videos should be focused on one game. So I'm thinking, what game do you guys think you would like to see? I'm thinking Murder Mystery 2 would be a good game to focus that on because I really love making those videos. Arsenal could be a game that I play every now and then. I don't think it's gonna be a fully like channel thing. I know that my Clash Royale videos got a lot of views, so I might come back to that. Oh, I recently played Super Auto Pets and I got really hot. I got like really far in the game. Like I did really well to the point where I was like 9 out of 10 trophies and then I get knocked down. But I think I don't want to have any spoilers, but something really good happened in Super Auto Pets recently, so hopefully you'll see that video coming out and that'll be pretty fun. So yeah, that sounds good. I'm hopefully gonna be able to do that. Today, I was planning on doing a live stream for like a. I was gonna do like a talking one where I talked about like some topic and stuff, but I don't really know if I want to do that right now. And would you guys like to hear me talk about something? I don't know. It's not really that much for me to talk about right now. Other than the school year is ending, guys. School year is ending, meaning that like in a month, less than a month even, I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be out of school and finally take a break, which would be really nice. Um, this year's classes have been difficult, and they've been by far the hardest that I've ever taken. Um, and it's not just the classes; it's like everything that I've done as a junior. I mean, I had to take the pre-practice SAT. I had to take the practice state testing every now and then, and I'm taking the actual state test. I took the English one, and I'm about to take the math one next week. So wish me luck on that. It's just algebra and geometry, but it's pretty difficult. It's pretty darn difficult. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that in some regard because the goal is to beat the juniors from last year, which are now seniors. So they're uh, above average. What do you call it? Above average total students who got above average was pretty good, but we are on the verge of beating them. So wish us luck, guys. Us juniors, we're gonna beat the seniors, and it'll be awesome because I want to set a new record. That'll be awesome. And you can tell that these students are actually like some of the juniors are really studious. They're really good students. Now, not all of them are, but still that accounts for some stuff. It makes a difference when you have students who really try hard. I mean, and I'm not saying it's not try hard, like a try hard, but no, like a person who actually tries, who executes and puts effort into something, like that should be respected. I think that's a key thing about students nowadays, this generation especially, that it's very difficult to find someone who would actually put the effort into something that they're not even that passionate about. I feel like often students who are passionate about something, they'll put a lot of effort into those things, but everything else they kind of just like burn out, Or maybe it's the case that because they put so much effort into that thing that they're passionate about, is then they burn out for all the other classes. They don't have enough passion left, enough energy left. So and you see that a lot nowadays. Everyone's so interested. Like for example, some of my friends they tell me like they're so good at science, and all of a sudden by the time they get to like their other classes they're just like, I'm not even gonna try. you know they don't turn in their homework on time, they don't really try for the tests, and that's not very healthy. I think that the most healthy thing to do is to be good all around, really. You don't have to be the best at everything, you just have to be good at everything, right? You don't have to be the number one student, the top student. You can just be like the top, maybe top 5 students, top 10 students in your class, and that's still good. If you're able to pass a class and you try hard or get even A is super awesome, in every single one of your classes, that means that you're pretty good well around. Now, if you take really hard classes like AP Chemistry or AP Physics, it's going to be hard for you to get an A all around. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're not good at those classes, but that the pacing of that class is super fast, that it's hard for you to, stay on track. And that's the most difficult thing about AP classes, that they go by so fast that like, you don't know how fast you need to be. And you don't know if you can actually keep up with that pacing. I think that's one of the most difficult things with AP classes. The pacing is just really fast. And it depends on the teacher. Some teachers, they take it kind of slow, and you don't really tell that they're you can't really tell that they're all like pressured to keep you guys on track because they're doing so well. They're so good at it. Um, hi, I think, and I can see the chat now. So yeah, um, my AP U.S. history teacher, she like you can never tell that she's like worried about us. Like she'll tell you guys like if you're doing a good job or anything, but other than that, like, she seems like she's moving at a normal pace of, like, a normal class? So, you don't really tell. In fact, some of the normal teachers, the regular teachers, like, they are like, "Oh my gosh, guys, we're so behind," and stuff like that. So, you can never really tell. It depends on how good the teacher is. If the teacher is teaching you guys at the right pacing and she's calm or he's calm, it's you can tell, right? And they don't have anything to be worried about. They prepared you well. We're not really talking about too much right now. I'm just like going on a tangent about classes and my AP classes, how I feel about school. You know, I know for a fact that when I took my classes in freshman year, the pacing was really really slow. Like the pacing was so slow. It was insane because I was just I actually tried. I think potentially anyone can pass high school. Like anyone can do it. For me, it doesn't when you talk about passing high school, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to have to take honors classes or AP classes. You have to do well on the SAT. No, all of that stuff is for college, guys. You don't have to worry about that. You can take normal classes and you'll get into a good college. You can get into a good college. You can go to the El Camino, like like a what do you call it, community college, and you can still do well. There's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't be ashamed. You know, you should be proud if you get into a good university. I mean, like, think if you go to Harvard, yeah, be proud, celebrate. But you don't shame yourself for not getting into it. It's not that big of a deal, really. It should never be. Okay, I feel like sometimes people stress that too much, and you really shouldn't. Um, but yeah, no, anyone can can pass high school. Really, it's not about how many resources you have. I'm sure someone who does not have nearly as many resources as someone else, if they take the normal classes, but the person who does not have nearly as many resources tries hard, like takes time, studies, repeats homework over and over again. Maybe you print it out over and over again. That's what I always do. Is that when I get a piece of homework, I don't write on the original one. I write on a separate piece of paper and then print that piece of paper out multiple times so I can just practice and practice and practice. You can still do really good. It's not about talent. It's about how much effort you put into something. I feel like a lot of people they forget about that. They think, oh, he's if this person's super smart, of course they're gonna pass the class. No, you know, I know people who are super smart. Like a guy, there's this guy who was like in my Spanish class, super fluent because he was Spanish. You know, he probably speaks Spanish at home. That's good. So he has a clear advantage over so many people. But every time, like, it was time for you to turn homework in, he didn't get any homework done. And that's the problem. Sorry, that was my dog. The problem is that you have to put in effort. If you want to do well in a class, you put in the effort. Okay, it doesn't matter what advantage you have if you don't use it, if you don't utilize that, and consider other factors. You're not going to do well in your classes. Okay, anyone can pass high school. Really, I think you can do it. I think anyone can do it. So don't feel bad. Okay, if you don't have the talent, if you don't feel like something comes naturally to you, if it takes 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times for you to learn something to really grasp a concept, that's okay. You know, it doesn't mean you're behind. It means that it takes a little bit longer for you to get something done. But then when the time comes, when the deadline is on that day, right, when the test is on your table and you are ready to take it, all that matters is how much you prepared for it. That's really all that matters. It's not how long it took for you to prepare for it. Now, yeah, if you take longer than the actual test date, you slack. That's a different issue, and that's on you. So don't slack, guys. Don't do that at all. Sorry, I have not been reading the chat. Funny story at school. Um, there's actually a really funny story I have. It's kind of scary in a way, but it was a funny story. I say. The funniest story I had was in my Algebra 1 class, actually. So I was in Algebra 1, I was doing, like, we do whiteboard practice, so it's all around the room. So imagine, like, this is the classroom, right? You would have a whiteboard there, whiteboard there, whiteboard there, And that's really what I like about math classes is that they have whiteboards so you can actually see other people's work, not so you can copy it down, but so that you can learn from that. And also that, being able to actually do it on something that's given for you, that helps a lot. So personally, I've always taken into consideration whiteboard practice a really good way of learning things. But anyway, though, so there was whiteboards all around the room. I was with my team. My team consisted of two guys. I don't know what the other guy was doing, but there was one guy who's like this really like buff guy. He was definitely in the wrestling team, uh, and he wasn't really helping with the problems that we were doing. So I was doing it all on my own. My back was turned. He was with this other dude who's like the class clown. You know, he's the obviously the rule breaker, the guy who the party pooper really. So he was on the other side, and they were talking over this picture. Apparently, that like class clown, he took a picture of my teammate while at a bad moment, so they were laughing over it. But then apparently, what happened was that guy who got to take picture taken of, and he felt like he was being laughed at for some reason. And I don't know what it is with kids nowadays, but apparently he got really sensitive, and he lashed out. He was what is it? Delete that picture. And the guys kept laughing. So eventually he actually got into a fight, like physical fight with the class clown, the guy who took the picture. And they were the class clown was trying to move away, but the other guy was holding him, pushing him. And apparently they pushed into me, which I was on the other side. I was just doing my wiper practice. So I had no idea what was going on that whole time. And I almost fell. And that's it's not really a funny part, but scary. But the funny part about that is just how quickly I feel like it's funny to me how quickly emotions can change. Like I feel like everyone gets so sensitive nowadays. You know, a lot of people they feel like nowadays social media platforms they're so horrible. They have all this inappropriate stuff, and it hurts these kids' feelings. It's gonna lead them to do things that they're gonna start hurting themselves. That's so bad. It's the platformers' fault. It's the developers. They're not thinking about children. Well, it's not really them. It is them, but you have to think also about who is being affected and why they're being affected, how they're being affected. The reason they're being affected is that like their emotions, they're so like I don't know how to say it. They're so fragile. They're so fragile. They get hurt every now and then. They have these mood swings. The second they see something that's like somewhat directed, a joke that's somewhat directed at them, then all of a sudden they get so defensive and they feel like, oh my gosh, now my life's over. My social, yeah, everything's horrible now. Everyone hates me. It's satire. Everyone's just like they're having a good joke. It's just like jokes. It's jokes. You don't take those seriously. I mean, you can tell between someone who's bantering and someone who actually hates you, so between teasing and bullying, there is a difference. And developers of social media platforms, Mark Zuckerberg, he can't control that. It's not about him. It's about the kids that are being affected. It's about the kids that get so worked up over a simple joke. And it's about those kids that when they put something up on Instagram or like TikTok or something, when they put their pictures on those social media platforms, that's their doing. Okay, they chose to put their stuff on there. They chose to put their face, their whole body, whatever it is that they put on there. Maybe they had like a silly face and someone made fun of it using ChatGPT or some AI stuff or whatever. You know, you can't blame the guy who made fun of the person. You can't blame the developers. The source of it all was the person who originally decided, I am going to put my face, myself, my identity out there. Because when you do that, you're exposing yourself to like everyone, and everyone can make fun of you all of a sudden. So, like for example, when I put my face out here, when I make this live stream, I know the consequences. I know someone could easily make fun of me. Someone could easily, just make a joke about when I don't know my face, my body, my hair, whatever it is, and a lot of other things. But that's okay. Like I'm not gonna feel affected by that personally. Like I don't care when people do that. I ignore it, and that's just me. A lot of people they are very sensitive. They get emotional when someone makes fun of them. So those people aren't meant to put their faces out on here. Those people aren't meant to have a social media profile that's public. They should be private, or like they should be able to share their pictures with people who they actually trust. Now, if those people that they actually trust turn out to be enemies, then that's a different problem. But the developers are not the problem. They're doing something so they can make a profit, and what they're doing is not intentionally trying to hurt people. That's the thing. It's not intentionally trying to hurt people. It just so happens to happen to people because those people are really sensitive. So be less sensitive, or if you can't control your sensitivity, then just don't do what you're doing. Don't publicize yourself, right? So similarly, and I want to tie it back to my anecdote, is that guy who took the picture and the guy who had the picture taken. And by the way, just so you guys know, the guy who had a picture taken of him, he meant to do that. Like he was posing for the picture. So when he did that, he should have known that, oh, these guys are probably going to joke about it. That guy's probably going to laugh about it. He's probably going to show it to his friends, and those friends are going to laugh about it. If he knows it's going to happen and he knows he's going to get super angry about it, then he should not have taken the picture to begin with. He should have shielded his face. He should have said, hey, man, don't take pictures of me. He should have told the teacher, you know. But instead, he went along with it. And when the joke accumulates, when it begins to establish, then it's out of anyone's fault of what happens, except for that guy who let it happen, right? It's not about the guy who made it happen, it's about the guy who let it happen. So that's why I feel like is going on nowadays, that because they get too sensitive. And it's okay to be sensitive, but then you should not be doing what you're doing. You guys shouldn't be, taking pictures of yourself and posting on Instagram and hoping that nothing happens. You guys shouldn't be putting yourself in a public zone where hundreds of millions, everyone can see it. So just be careful, really. It's kind of scary. It's scary what happens, and I do feel bad for them. But then at some point, you have to realize like where the source of it came from. And that's just me, really. It's kind of funny that I'm mentioning this because I took a test, a personality test, because it was for like this assignment that I had for English, my English class, and I got like this. It called it a weird um, fusion of pragmatism and I forgot it was like realism or activism. I think it was realism though. And that's really that's just me. That kind of just describes me, guys. I know that I might sound kind of like rude or jerky because I'm saying all this, but that's kind of just me in the sense that I think about like logically who's to blame or logically can this happen. That's really that's kind of how I if you think about it, if you just stop to take a minute to think about it, is how I tackle social interactions. Like for example, um, there was a friend of mine who asked me like, there was a friend who asked me like, how do I look with this attire on? He was wearing this attire, like this uniform that he got, and he was gonna wear it for to school to Halloween because apparently there was this dress up thing that was going on. I don't ever participate in the dress ups because like obviously one is that I don't really like dressing up. Two, I'm too lazy to do it. So even though like part of me is like yeah, but if I did, that'd be super cool. And also you got to take pictures with the whole class because typically what teachers do to kind of motivate kids in taking pictures, in wearing their costumes, their Halloween costumes, is that you can have a class picture and that goes on the wall. They'll print it out and it's usually on the wall. So I'm kind of that kind of person. I do like taking pictures. So I was like, I could do it, but I kind of don't. So I decided then I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to wear a costume in class. But my friend was telling me, I want to wear this costume in class. What do you think? And I have to be honest, that was a really bad costume. Like it did not fit him whatsoever. Okay, it just didn't seem like it would. It fits his vibe. I knew that he was gonna do like this impression of the character that he was playing. I'm not gonna say what it was, but it just didn't fit him. Like his personality and that costume, it didn't match, and also like his face for the costume, it didn't make sense. It just didn't seem like it was gonna be his personality and didn't really fit him. So I told him off the bat, like, I don't think this one fits you. I think you should try out something different. Okay. Or if you're going to try out something different, you can have something that's related to the same show that you're basing your character on, but maybe not that character. So just like that, he didn't take any offense to it, and he said, "Okay, well maybe I should try out this one." And I looked at that one. I said, "Yeah, that fits you so much better." And that's the whole thing that I feel like we should focus on. Don't focus so much on. Wow, thank you. Don't focus so much on trying not to hurt someone's feelings, okay? Because when you do that, you're walking on eggshells. Like, then you can't say anything. You can't say the truth. And really, a guy when your friends ask you for your opinion, they're asking for the truth. If they end up getting super offended by it, if you're like, I don't think that fits you. If I said to my friend, I don't think that fits you, I think you should try something different. And my friend said, wow, you're like the worst friend ever. I'm never gonna ask you for something for your opinion again. That's just not someone you should hang out with. First of all, I would never make that judgment for a friend. First of all, I would never have a friend who would act that way. Okay, that's just not someone who I would associate myself with. But second of all, if they did act like that, then I would personally feel offended by that because they asked for my opinion. They want to know what I feel, and if that's the truth, then I'm going to say it. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of what they might feel by it. It's the truth, right? So that's why I think. What college am I committed to? I'm not quite sure yet, but it's definitely going to be hopefully a UC in California because that's where I live in California. So I'm thinking, I mean, if I were to be able to shoot for the stars, I'd go UCLA. But something like um, Riverside, you know, that'd be pretty nice too. I don't mind. I'd be fine with El Camino College, which is a community college around here. So that'd be fine. Uh, what major? I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm definitely somewhere in the medical field. Definitely somewhere in the medical field because personally, I like learning about medicine. I actually am taking an anatomy class right now, so I'm definitely looking forward to having something related to medicine. Um, and hopefully, it'll be a pretty good job that makes a lot of money. So I'm looking into that area, but I haven't completely decided. So yeah, but definitely somewhere in the medical field. I don't think I'm gonna go like engineering or something like that. Not law. I could do law. That would be pretty fun. But I'm thinking definitely medical because I think law you have to memorize a bunch of stuff. And while that you could say the same thing for the other one for medical field. Thank you. You're really nice. Yeah. No. If um you can say the same thing for both law and medicine. You have to memorize a whole bunch of stuff, and it's a lot of work. But in the end, you make good money. I feel like people should honestly focus a lot on these kind of jobs because they're so high in demand. You need doctors. You can't have, you can't live without a doctor. You gotta go at least have daily, like no, sorry, not daily, like semi-annual checkups. Um, and then you need lawyers to defend you, right, in court cases. So yeah, really high in demand and great pay. Very intelligent people, doctors and lawyers are. Not to say that not to say that engineers and mechanics are not, you know, educated. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, right. So yeah, it's all about sensitivity, really, guys. Like, I don't think that people who they get really sensitive. First of all, it's really hard to hang out with someone who gets really sensitive, because someone who gets really sensitive has mood swings, and mood swings are not very fun to deal with because one time they can be super happy and they're like the coolest person to hang out with. Next time they're super upset. And the good thing is none of my friends take it out on me, but I know a lot of people definitely could. Then it really makes you question if they're a great friend or not. Because sometimes they are like the best person that you want to hang out with, and other times they're like the last person you want to hang out with. So mood swings are horrible, really, for me. I wish that none of my friends have mood swings. Now it's not true that all my friends don't have mood swings, obviously, because some people just do. Some people are like that. But the fact that but my friends are typically able to control it. That's really good. Being able to control your mood swings around other people in public is super important because otherwise it can be annoying and disruptive and sort of disrespectful to other people. So yeah, but yeah, that was my one of my funniest stories in high school so far. There are other stories. I have some pretty funny ones too. But it's kind of hard to explain because a lot of them require some context. A lot of them require some good context. So yeah. If I had to think though about which year I like best, honestly, I'd say my freshman year is probably my favorite year. And the reason for that being that the classes I took were super fun. Biology was so much fun. I remember because why? I had such a great teacher. My teacher was amazing. Super cool guy. I think his ideals were focused on the right things. Like he focuses a lot on manners, which is super important nowadays to have at least one teacher in your 6 periods that you take, or maybe 7, depends on like how many classes you take. I think you need at least one teacher who is willing to teach kids manners because manners are super important nowadays. I don't know how many kids at school forget their manners. Like they start cursing, you know, their what do you call it? Their I don't want to say attire because it's not really an attire, but it's like the outfits are inappropriate. Sometimes the things that they do inside classes are inappropriate. Talking while the teacher's talking, uh, making a lot of noise. It's super disruptive. And although that a lot of teachers are okay with that, you need at least one teacher who is willing to make that adjustment for kids. Give you a shout out. Sure. Shout out to Kate Lozano 264. Yeah, I got you. No worries. Yeah. Thank you for coming to the live stream, by the way, guys. Thank you so much. I'm very glad to have you guys here. I hope I said your name right. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming to the live stream. Hope you're enjoying it. So yeah. No, yeah. I think you need at least one teacher to teach us that because otherwise the way that students carry themselves and the way they act in their other classes, that definitely gets affected. For example, like my biology teacher, even though I'm like a typical I feel like I'm a really mature and um what is it called? We're like respectful person. Sometimes I step out of line in like certain areas. Like for example, sometimes it's very hard for you not to talk to your friends, especially when they're sitting right next to you. So one time I was doing that, and my biology teacher pulled me aside and told me like, you can't do that. Try not to do that again. And you know, it was just that. It's really simple. I'm not going to go to detention for it or anything, but it's super important that at least I learned that because then when I go to my other classes, I remember not to do that. Because I respect that teacher so much that I would never do it to my other teachers. And personally, I think teachers should be really respected. And I know I said this in the last live stream, but teachers, they're super important. Yeah, I know. It's so easy to do it, right? But yeah, teachers are so important. They give so much to you that it's so hard. You can never repay them. It's like it's like your parents in a way. Your parents are more important, obviously. There's no way in heck that I would say my teachers are anywhere near as important as my parents. But my parents are super important. But anyway, though, what I was trying to say is that my teachers, like, think about what your teachers do. They're giving you all this knowledge, and they teach you. They give you homework and tests so that they can test you. So that you every time that you take the test or do a homework piece or do some homework, you have to think about what that's really doing for you. It's just trying to teach you and test your knowledge if you're really getting what you're learning. And all these different subjects you need to know at least a little bit of because when you go out into the workforce, you're going to need to know at least a little bit. Even a janitor needs to know like some math. Even a server needs to know at least some English, right? Because then when they're writing stuff down, they have to be able to make it legible for the cooks to read, right? So even like the smallest jobs, even the ones that pay very little, you still need to know at least a little bit of that general knowledge. And yes, you could teach it yourself, but it would take a lot longer than if a teacher does it because your teacher has a routine. They have a system that they've created over years and years of practice, right? A lot of your teachers are pretty much middle age or a little bit older, senior. And the reason for that being is that when they started is that they were really young and they were trying to learn. They gain experience too from the students that they teach. So then they eventually create this curriculum that every year they teach every single day, over and over again every year. And by doing that, is that now by the time when they're like middle age, and that's usually when you see them, cool. So like coincidentally, every time you see your teacher for the first time, they're always around middle age. Now they've already got curriculum for you. They're like, here, and the knowledge is fed to you, right? They have slides, and you should appreciate the teachers most, the ones that give lectures, because that means that they're really passionate about what they teach. They're actually trying to teach you something, they're not just giving you homework, but they're actually teaching. They can speak about it, right? They can actually teach you. That means that they're really good. So really respect your teachers, guys. They're super important. Okay. Um, I would say science teachers are even more important than English and math teachers. And I know that I say that with, it's very easy to, what is it, to debate that, you need math and English a lot more than you use science. But science teachers are giving you the basic establishment for you to get a really good job. Okay, think about it. Like, how much money do biologists make? How much money do chemists make? How much money do spread like scientists, engineers, um, doctors, right? They all make a lot of money. And where does that stem from? Well, it stems from your teachers, your science teachers, your engineering teachers, right? When you learn physics, it's going to take you somewhere. When you take physics, it's going to take you somewhere because technically some of these are considered like core classes. So you don't actually take physics in my high school. At least in my high school, I don't know if like whatever high school you go to, maybe it's a core class, but you only need like um, 3 years of science. So I could technically just take biology, chemistry, Earth and space, or something. I could take environmental science, and I don't need to take physics. But when I decided to take physics for my next year of classes because I'm interested in it. Because there's a chance that if I learn something from it, I can apply it to my future education, right? So I think science is really important. Okay, you need to know at least a little bit of it for you to get somewhere. And it also impacts you politically too. When you take environmental science, you can be more well-rounded and more knowledgeable about the environment, right? You can learn about what pollution is, global warming, and you can make your own decision on how you feel about that. Do you feel like there should be a lot more reforms and progression, right? Are you going to be progressive about, environmental reform? Should we continue funding and funding and funding to try and make the environment better, more healthy, the air you breathe healthier? Or do you think that we're doing about enough right now? You know, so it helps you out a lot. Science is really important. You should really thank your teachers. That's why I always do. I thank my teachers by the end of the year, ask them to sign my yearbook because I don't want to forget about them. They're still awesome teachers. And yeah, sometimes, and one of the things that my parents kind of helped me do was write them a letter. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to give them a gift card, you don't have to give them much of anything. But a simple letter thanking them is important already enough. So that's why I did for my teachers for every year. So yeah, I think it's super important that you guys do that. It's cool. It's really helpful. So yeah. Anyway though guys, before I leave, last thing I want to say, I'm so glad that school is almost over. I'm just almost like I'm already done with it. I feel done with it. But I still have some finals I need to take, so I'm gonna do those. So before I do the finals, I'll have some videos out, definitely. I have so many videos to post, I have some videos to edit too. So I'm gonna definitely try and get those out, and then by the time I finish those, then I can get some newer videos out. And I think the week or two before I take the finals, I'll be a little bit out of the YouTube channel. I'll be like focusing on my academics, and after that, then I can come back because I'm busy. I am very busy. So look forward to that. And let me know, guys, what you guys think I should play. I think I definitely have some things in mind, but you guys could help me out a lot. So please do help me out there. So yeah, I think that's basically all I want to say today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If there's anything you guys want to say before I leave, then you guys should definitely do so because I could definitely respond to that right before I leave. Let me see. Is there anything here that I can do? There's games now I can play. Do you guys know that? There's games I could play. That's actually kind of interesting. I might do that. I might do that. The retouch. I could do some retouch on this. 49 seconds short. I could do that too. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Let's see. How do I actually play this game? Hold on. I want to see. If I were to play Words of Wonders. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. It worked. Okay. Oh, that was a little scary. Okay. Anyway, though, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next one. Video is coming out soon. So, that's good. Wish me luck on my AP test. I will get my results back somewhere in July, so looking forward to that. I'm also kind of dreading it. Hopefully, I do really well. I'm pretty confident I did well on all my APs. I definitely think I passed on all of them. I just don't know how low it's going to be. Like, if I get a 3 on AP Chem, I'll be a little disappointed, but also kind of happy that I'll be happy that I passed, but disappointed I didn't do better than I wish I did. You know, I definitely think I'll get a 4 on A push and AP Lang, probably a 4 or 5. All right. Well, see you guys next one. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good summer, guys. I'll see you guys hopefully next week. See ya.